Coach, if you would, just get us started with an opening statement on tonight's game.
Well, first, I want to congratulate Queens. They played a great game tonight. Thought they were terrific. They have a great team, obviously, all year, and we battled them 4 times. And you know, obviously, first 3 fell our way. 2 of those could have gone either way. And tonight, you know, we played hard. We didn't play well enough to win against an outstanding team that I thought played great. So all credit to them. From our standpoint with our group, like I told them in there, one game doesn't define you. I know there's there's a tendency in sports to, you know, winner's great and loser stinks, and that's just kind of how it goes. But these guys, 32 wins, #1 in the country, finished #1 in the nation, regular season title, undefeated regular season, conference tournament champions, regional finalists. We're crushed that we couldn't get it done today. We wanted it for those guys, for our fans. We thought we had the best team in the country, but the reality is it's a one-game deal. It's a one-game elimination. Anything can happen, and we weren't the best team on the floor tonight, and that's all that matters in this tournament. But that doesn't detract from the fact that these guys were incredible, had a remarkable, remarkable season, and it was my honor and privilege to get to come to work with these guys on a day-to-day basis. You know, we have a couple guys that are graduating out of here. We lose 4 seniors. 2 of those guys, Dorian Pince and Emmanuel Terry, been here for 4 years. 2 of them, and I put them together because it's a symbiotic relationship with those 2. Those 2 are attached to the hip. 126 wins, 14 losses, 4 regular season titles, 2 conference tournament titles, 2 regional titles, Final Four, national championship game. 2 of the greatest players in the history, not only of our school, but in the history of the South Atlantic Conference. And the 2 winningest players. It'd be hard for anybody to win 126 games in 4 years. I mean, that's almost 32 wins a year, 31 and a half to be exact. Those guys were unreal. And this team, you can be really good with a coach-led team, but to be elite, you got to be a player-led group. And those guys, you know, I mean, led this team from beginning to end. And we've had great players, great leaders over the last few years, but those guys, you know, they set the bar, man. They were unbelievable all year for us.
Coach, I mean, 3 of 15 3-pointers. That stands out on the box score, and it's probably the reason you're coming in here first.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'll credit Queens. They did a great job guarding us. They made everything difficult, and they made things really hard. And when we got opportunities, I think we had some open looks, but the cumulative effect of everything being guarded when they guard you so well, and then you get an open one finally, you have a tendency maybe to rush or to try to squeeze it off a little bit because you've been guarded so hard. And we missed some good looks. We had a stretch. We missed 4 out of 5 free throws in the second half, a couple 1-on-1s that could have, you know, got us back in. They made their free throws. It sounds cliche, but it's true. Sometimes, you know, it's just a make or miss deal. And tonight, a team that had shot the 3 well, coming tonight, led the country in field goal offense. You know, we missed some opportunities, but again, you got to credit them. They were outstanding defensively. They were active. They pressured. They were great at the rim. They blocked everything. It felt like I looked at it, they had 8 blocks, like 80 blocks, and we weren't able to get the ball. When we got the ball to the rim, we maybe didn't make the appropriate play. We had to move it on to the weak side. We talked about that, and we just didn't do it. We were aggressive. But we didn't always make the right basketball play, and we were touching the paint. I thought we got the ball to the paint relentlessly, but we didn't make the right play on some paint attacks. And you pay against them, and then they stepped up, and I thought made some big shots, including some big threes in the second half, but 3 for 15 from 3, you know, missing 4 out of 5 free throws, including 2 front ends. You know, I thought we got it back there to, I think, 51-49. We had a chance and missed a couple free throws to kind of get the lead and never could get over the hump. And then you know, we went obviously on a dry patch right there, a dry spell, and again, that's partially like everything. It's certainly some to our discredit, but mainly to their credit for how well they played, how hard they guarded, and what a good team they have.
You guys had kind of taken back momentum a little bit, and then there was that call on Terry under the goal on the inbound pass, and that really seemed to kind of take the wind out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of those things, anytime you're playing you got to be really good and you got to be fortunate, you know, and there's things that are out of your control, whether it's a bounce of a ball. I thought they were quicker to lose balls, referees' calls. You know, I know what they were saying. We thought he was pushed out of bounds. He was out of bounds. He came back in and had you know, got fouled. He would have got fouled, but he was the first person back in to touch. And, you know, one play doesn't decide it. But, yeah, I thought we deflated a little bit right there. We got a little frustrated. But I think we were more frustrated just with shot making and not being able to. And we hung in there, boy. Because we were grinding. I mean, first half, deep in the second half, when it was 51-50. I don't know how much time was left, but it was maybe 8-9 minutes or something like that. I mean, we were grinding. It was a struggle to score. I thought if we could have maybe got a lead and really the crowd was obviously into it. Crowd was great tonight. If we played as well as our crowd, we would be coming in second right here instead of first. We'd have won, but we just couldn't get couldn't get over the hump, couldn't get momentum, couldn't get a lead, and then there was no game pressure when it came down there. We got it back to 6, I think, with about 1:45 to go, and then had that steal and kind of bobbled it, and then we go out of bounds, and we that call, and we thought we were shooting 2 free throws, maybe cut it to 4 with about 1:35, 1:40 to go, and that's a different ball game than being down 6, and then we foul and make kind of a bad play there, and then you're down 8, so it's a big swing.
This one, it felt a lot like the SAC championship game, especially the first half. You know, they took a lead, you guys battled back. The difference was, I think, in the second half, you guys started with 4 possessions, you got no points, had a couple of turnovers, and really kept you guys from really kind of taking over there.
Yeah, we couldn't score. I mean, they felt like they were extremely active defensively. They did a great job of, you know, impacting the ball, and they pressure. And you have to attack that pressure, and you have to get the ball to paint. But they do a great job helping. So you're not going to get something on that first attack. You got to be willing to attack the paint, collapse the defense, and then move the ball on to somebody else, and you can play off closeouts or shoot threes. Too much tonight for whatever reason. We attacked the paint, and we were shooting really difficult shots over the top of guys like Todd Withers and Louis Diankulu and even Sean Willett, who are terrific shot blockers. They're really long and athletic, and again, they got great individual defenders. And then you have to drive that because they do such a good job pressuring them. When you touch the paint, you've got to make the appropriate play. And I thought all night we tried to drive it, and we were aggressive. But the key is to be aggressive and unselfish. And I'm not saying our guys were selfish, but we didn't make the right basketball play behind the paint touch. And so to start the second half, first possession, Josh gets stripped. You know, we had a couple drives that were kind of not there and shooting it. And so, yeah, 38-33 all of a sudden becomes, I think it was 43-33. But we still fought back, and it's 51-50, you know, with whatever it was, 8.5, 9 to go. And we have every chance to win it. Crowd was amazing and trying to will us to it. And we just hit a dry spell. You can't have that many dry possessions against a great team like that. And again, credit them. They were terrific defensively. Our ills on offense were certainly as much a, you know, if not more, a product of their great defense and less a product of our poor offense. It was a little bit of both, but certainly more credit to them than our guys being at fault.
Dorian fouled out there at the end, and he was obviously really hurt. And I know he was kind of a bystander last year.
Yeah.
He was injured, and even as the awards were kind of handed out, he kind of couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about him and what he's going through.
Well, I told them, I think when you're playing in sports and to achieve at the highest level, and this is uncommon because a lot of people don't do it, to achieve the highest level, you got to be willing to have your heart broken. You have to lay it all out there. You can't hold anything back. Otherwise, you're never going to get to the top of the mountain. And Dorian's a guy who, you know, plays with everything he has. And so when he comes up short, it's devastating. But to be the best, that's the only option. You got to be willing to be a champion. You got to be willing to have your heart broken. And there's heartbroken guys in that locker room because we have a bunch of champions now. We didn't win the national championship, but that locker room is filled with tough, competitive guys who are great kids and who are champions in every sense of the word, and have done incredible things for this school. For me personally, they've elevated LMU, and not only have they won, but they've represented the institution in an unbelievable way with class and dignity and gravitas, and they are, you know, they'll forever, particularly those two because they came in together, Those two will forever be a part of LMU history, and they'll be tied together. But I think that's what it is. It's crushing. It's devastating because they were completely all in. And when you lay it all out there and you lay it all to bear, and it doesn't go your way, it is heartbreaking. But I do think time will give perspective, and when they have perspective, they're able to really take it and get the emotion out of it and look at what they've done over their 4 years. That heartbreak will be replaced with a lot of pride for all that they've done and all they've accomplished. And both those guys will go on and I think play for a long time. Once they leave Lincoln Memorial, they're both going to be pros and have long careers ahead of them there. Graduate in May. There'll be a lot of special days ahead, but this is a painful end to a chapter. Those guys loved it here. They were all in for LMU. They embraced everything about our program, and and I don't know if I don't think it's coincidental that their arrival coincided with us getting over the hump. When they got here 4 years ago, we were a really good program. We'd advanced the NCAA tournament to the second round 3 years in a row. We had been almost hosted, been a 2 seed, I think, 3 or 4 times. And you look at their 4 years, 3 number 1 seeds, finished number 1 in the country, I think 3 out of the last 4 years in the regular season. The Final Fours, all that stuff. I don't think it's coincidental that their arrival here has seen us, really take the next step as a program and become a really good program. You can make a case the last 4 years, the best, most consistent, Division II or Division I program in the country. And look at winning percentage. 126-14. No one else has done that in Division I or Division II basketball the last 4 years. So those guys, players win games, and those guys are ultimate winners, and beyond winners, they're champions. And so that's a long answer to a good question.
I'd like could you address the fans tonight? They were remarkable.
Fans that was the best I've heard it in there. Maybe Lenore Ryan a couple years ago, they were extraordinary. We're so appreciative of them for coming out. And not only coming out, but how loud they were, how passionate they were, the energy in the place, the electricity. We cut that lead to 51-50. You couldn't hear anything. And if we played as well as they cheered, we'd be going to Sioux Falls. And so I'll take that with me from this. We've, the last few games that go back to the end of the regular season, we've had unbelievable crowds. And the people here have really embraced our program, and we're so grateful for that. It's a great experience for our guys to be able to play in front of a crowd like that, and an atmosphere like that. And it's part of what makes Tex Turner one of the hardest places in the country, to play. It's an incredible place to play. I think that's our 14th loss here in 10 years. And a big part of that is obviously the first key is you got to have great players. But the second thing that makes the home court advantage is fans and their energy. And tonight was amazing. I wish we could have played a little better and sent them home happy, but we're appreciative of them and sorry that we couldn't win the game for them.
Coach, I feel like that was probably a good way to end it, but
yeah, no, it's fine.
Question.
Sure, no.
You alluded to it a little bit. Just you guys did a great job chipping away at the deficit, but it seemed like every time you got to 1-2 possession game, they went on another run. Just how frustrating was that to kind of have to play that way the whole game?
Yeah, it was incredibly frustrating. We felt like we were, got ourselves back in position. We would get it down, 35-33 there at the end of the half, and then, we lose Agassi for a 3, and he drills it, and then we make a bonehead play on the other offensive end, don't score, so it's 5 at halftime. And even then, we talked about, you get down 10 to start the second half, and then you battle it back and you cut it to 1, and we just, whether it was free throws, them making plays, it's always a combination of things, and the games are there's always 2 stories, it's just not what you did, but what the other team did as well. And, you got to credit them. They made a lot of big shots. Jalen Alexander with some huge threes. Ike Agassi with some huge threes. When we had our opportunities, Trayvon had a couple good looks. Cornelius Taylor, Dorian had a good look. We just couldn't knock them down. And I'll live with those shots. Those guys have made them all year. And again, I know it sounds, super simplistic and cliche, but sometimes it just comes down to making or missing shots, and games do. And you get good looks and they don't go down, and you're playing a great team. I thought our guys hung in there as long as they could. I thought, maybe the last minute or even maybe the last minute was where we kind of, deflated. But for 38.5 minutes with all the offense, all the missed shots, we were grinding at it, and we just never could get over. And I think that obviously was frustrating. I think, because we've been all year an incredibly efficient shooting team from the field, from the three. We've been, like I said, number one in the country in field goal offense all year, and then top 3 or 4 in the country in 3-point shooting. But it just wasn't our night. And again, that a lot of that is them too. So you got to credit Queens because they did a really good job guarding us, made a lot of shots difficult, and then again that cumulative effect. You're shooting tough shots. You get an open one, and you rush it because you're so excited that you're getting a clean look, and we just missed. And then same thing at the free throw line, which is the reverse what happened last year. They missed a bunch of free throws, and we made a bunch of shots down the stretch, and that's why we were able to go to Sioux Falls, and they'll go this year. And it stinks that I love a lot about Division II, really most everything, but the thing I dislike the most is the regionalization. The fact that you got 2 of the best teams in the country that can win it all, having to play each other in a regional final. I felt that way last year, but it is what it is, and again, credit to them, and certainly we're disappointed, but I know they'll go out and they have as good a chance as anybody to be the last team standing.